Hi guys, so this is week 14 and I had no intention of doing another video since the videos usually are to wrap up the week before and then to talk about the week ahead, and we're now done. But this is Sunday and I've been doing the second marking for the progress reports, and I thought I needed to do one last video just to appeal to you guys. Please make a greater effort with proofreading. I have been doing the second marking and many of you have failed the progress reports, and you've only failed because of grammar. The first marker isn't even marking you for business communication principles. She pushed that aside when she did not see it, and she basically focused on your grammar. So if you got a 4, then if she had even done the business writing principles part, maybe you would have gotten a 2 or a 1. And I know I said many times, please proofread. Please proofread. In many cases, they're just simple grammar mistakes. Really simple grammar, guys. And even if you think it's hard marking, what would you prefer? Her to lie and say, oh, it was good when it wasn't? I never understand that when students say, oh, that's a hard marker. Does hard marking mean the person was too honest? Too real? Does that mean you would have preferred if the person lied? Because here's the thing. She could ignore the mistakes as she has ignored the business communication writing principles mistakes, or she could give you a better idea of how you're doing. And it's a reflection of the writing that you will do in the real world. So even though I didn't do the first marking, you'll notice that below the first marker's comments, I have a line. And then for many of them, I just put, I concur with the first marker, meaning I agree with the comments. So those who plagiarize, if she said you plagiarize and she has the proof, then in those cases, I just ask you to explain to me why or what you want me to do with that, because I can't pass it if you plagiarized, especially when she has proof. And for those of you who failed because of a ton of grammar mistakes, it's very hard to pass you if she's failed it for the grammar. So that's just a little bit of feedback I want you to have. Wherever you see I concur, it means I agree. I didn't mark it initially, but I agree with what she found. Okay, guys? Now, I know for some of you, it doesn't really matter because you're never going to use those writing principles, but you needed to do the course, and I get that. But for those of you who care and those of you who need to be good writers, I'm going to ask you to give yourself a few hours after you see your grade. I've always found it's a good idea to give yourself a little time just to kind of recuperate and to kind of deal with, sometimes when you see low grades, it makes you feel bad and you get negative feelings. And sometimes negative feelings lead us to negative thoughts. So I know that there's a lot of emotions that get raised when we don't like our grades. And I know sometimes the temptation is to hit out and say, oh, the teacher is bad, the teacher didn't do this. But I want you to just walk away for a while from the grade and breathe. And then give yourself a few hours and then look back at the comments. And then look at your report and make sure that none of those mistakes are in your reports. because the first mark is going to be marking your reports. And guys, if the progress report is anything like the final reports, then we have a lot to worry about. We have a lot to worry about. Mind you, once you've been doing your work, you're going to pass the course anyway. But most of you want to do more than pass. Once people are doing the work each week, even if they're failing, they will at least get a P. If you're doing the work, you should at least get a P, right? But most of you want more than a P. And most of you can get more than a P. But some of you will only end up with a P only because you haven't put in enough work. Now, I uploaded 3 videos about 2 days ago. And having read the progress reports, you all need to watch those videos. Because reports have to have bullets. If your bullets are incorrect, you're going to lose marks. So there's a video on how to use bullets and how to decide if it's a regular bulleted list or a numbered list. Some of you didn't even use any headings for the progress report. And I specifically in the write-up said, use the headings. Some of you had no headings. No, you have to have headings in your report. And I spoke about it in this video because I explained that you cannot have a page of text without headings in your report. Every page must have headings. But the headings need to be parallel to the alphanumeric outline that you came up with when you did your core sentence. So I need to see the core sentence at some point at the beginning of the report. And then I need to see where you followed through from the categories in the core sentence to the headings in the report. Now you guys have a little bit more than 24 hours. That's still good time for you to carefully proofread. And a few of you have plagiarized. And normally when you plagiarize, you get 0 plus it goes to the dean. I noticed one of you, she gave a second reminder and said she was taking it to the dean. If she does that, I have no control over that because she marked it, she made those comments, she's taking it to the dean. I'm going to ask you guys, do not be tempted to plagiarize. I sometimes close my eyes to it simply because I just give an F and I think that's the end of it. I don't think it's going to happen like that this time. I think she's definitely taking it to the dean. I'm going to suggest to you guys, do not plagiarize your final report. If you plagiarize, you're going to fail the entire course. If you plagiarize, the entire course is going to be a failed mark. And don't ask us how you know when you plagiarize. It's not hard. For one of you who plagiarized, she even told you where it was taken from. I don't know how she knew, because I didn't even stop to do that part, because I thought, if you plagiarize, I'm not even going to read it. I just took a quick glance and I thought, okay, you want to plagiarize, that's up to you. I have nothing to do with that. But I was disappointed. So, please spend the time. Guys, I did tons of videos to help you. Tons of videos for you to use a you attitude, for you to use positive language. And I'm not seeing that in the work. I'm not seeing it. And I want to remind you that not because English is your first language means that you don't have to make the effort. Because the same way you have to make an effort for psychology and anthropology and sociology and politics and French and everything else, you have to make the same effort for communications 11-15, because it requires skills that you don't have naturally. That's why you're doing this course, to learn these skills. And right now, the highest grade I've seen so far, and I think there are about 10 left, but the highest grade I've seen so far is 6 out of 10. Most people got 3 or 4 out of 10 because of grammar. Not even business communication principles, grammar. And when you see her comments, you will see grammar. So I know it's a little distressing, but you have 30% more to work with. 30% left. 20 for the report and 10 for the oral presentation. Please take the time between now and 11:59 tomorrow to make it good. It still can be done. It's still redeemable. You still can come out with a decent grade. But there's a lot you have to do. Now for the oral presentation, if you looked at my bad model, the one about life curveballs, and then you looked at Life Hurts, the better version, which is not an A+ version, but it's a better version. If you were able to look at the two of them, watch the two of them, and if you saw the weaknesses in one and how the weaknesses were corrected, then it means you have a good idea of what to do for yours. Now, surprisingly, a few of you have uploaded your oral presentation. You were very critical and hard on mine, and yet you've done worse on yours, which I don't understand. Because if you are able to look at mine and you are able to see the faults, it means that you should be able to use the same critical thinking on yours. So I'm allowing you 2 uploads. So if you've done your oral presentation and now if you've submitted your oral presentation and now I've made you a little concern, look back at it, watch it, and if you want to re-record. Because the few that I've seen so far are not passing. I may just give a mercy 5 out of 10, but they're not good. Because the test obviously wasn't done. There's no connection between the attention grabber, the thesis, and the closing. No connection, no cohesion. Apart from that, the introductions I just heard rambling. I couldn't tell where your credibility was. I couldn't tell how you bonded with the audience. I didn't hear the transition between the sentences. And for some of you, there was no announcement of the thesis statement. You just talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. And for many of them, I had to stop and rewind. Where are they? Are you at the body? Are you still in the introduction? I wasn't hearing it. So I'm a little concerned. So please, if you've uploaded I'm allowing each person 2 uploads. If you've done 2 already, that's it. But I'm allowing you to re-upload if you have doubts about it now. And for the report, it has to look like Bovee. Look at the Bovee example that there is. Look at the pages. Look at how the reference list is done. Look at how the table of contents is done. Look at the title page. Look at how the executive summary is done. So first, it has to resemble a report with all the parts. And then once you've done that, make sure that you've gone through steps 1 to 12, I think it is, on Blackboard. So you've done everything that, if you follow those steps, you can't go wrong. But then you also need to finish and give yourself enough time now to read with fresh eyes. Put it down, take a nap, and then pick it up again. Read from your last sentence to your first sentence. That takes time, I know. But that's one way that you will find your errors. When you read a sentence on its own, where there was no sentence before it to give context, when you listen to it, you get a chance to think, did this even make sense? Is this sentence on its own a good sentence? And once you start to make that once you kind of think about it like that, then you'll find your errors a little bit better. I'm not saying you're going to find every error, but you'll find a lot better. And then once you've done most of that, then it's time just to do some, simple checks. And then you're going to look now for the you attitude, positive language, and you're going to look for things we discussed in this video and things we discussed in that video. And then you're ready to upload by 11:59. And let me tell you once again, if it's late, it will not be accepted, because it's due on Monday and the grades are due the following Monday. And I have to give you your grades before. So if it's late, guys, you have to keep it. Sorry. If it's late, you have to keep it. Now, I've seen a few reports. A few of you have met with me for one-on-one consultation. And from what I have seen, I'm getting the impression that many of you are not reading the guidelines. So please read the guidelines. All the guidelines are there. And remember, if your report resembles an essay, you will not pass the report. It cannot resemble an essay. It is a report. So look at what you did for the progress report, because that's an indication of your report writing skills. Look at the checklist and make sure that you hit all the major parts. And look at the style notes again, just to make sure that the grammar and all of those things work. I don't know what else to say, guys. I know you're disappointed, and so am I. But you have the information there. You just have to apply it. I think I did at least 15 or so videos for this class. And each of those videos was an effort to get you a little bit more support, a little bit more help. And because you had a late start, I asked the first marker to focus more on grammar than the actual business writing principles. Because I know for some of you that takes a little while, and it's only been maybe 6 or 7 weeks. So it's really the grammar that's the issue here. It's really the grammar. It's not even business writing. So I don't know what to say, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you didn't take the time to read the assignments. And I'm sorry that you didn't think it was that serious, because I'm only assuming that you didn't take it that seriously. But like I said, you have 2 more assignments and you can put out a greater effort and expect a good reward, right? So if you stuck around though and you're here still at week 14, thank you for doing that. I know it's hard, guys. I know for some of you, COVID is an issue. Some of you, you're working a full-time job and you barely have the time. The good thing though is that whenever you do need these business writing principles, Professor Tanya Speaks will always be there. You can always come back at any time after the course when you have to write a progress report, or you have to write a real memo or a letter. You know where to find information. And I hope you downloaded that PDF file, because that's a good business communication text to have. It's not current, but it's excellent. That will always help you. So that's some additional support beyond the course. And you can always email me if you ever have concerns after you leave, like, how do I write to this? I can tell you where to go. I still have students who email me every now and again. Tanya, we have a presentation to do. Does this sound like a good attention grabber? Feel free. I'm always available, always ready to help. So we've come to the end of this journey, and it was really good having you guys. I learned a lot from you. I learned one of my greater lessons was the need for making things very clear and getting students to sign a waiver. I learned that. But you guys have been a really great, positive bunch. You've really stepped up, and thank you for sticking around and for believing that this would work out. So I think I've told you everything that I need to tell you. All the progress report grades will be there, I would say by tomorrow the latest. I'm still waiting on the first marker for a few, I think maybe about 10. So I should get those 10 between tonight and, well, I should get those 10 tonight. And if it comes in too late, then I'll get to them tomorrow morning. But you'll definitely have them soon. You'll have them before midday tomorrow. And I mean, not that you need it, but it'll be good so that it will kind of help you to see what you need to focus on for your report. So that will be there. And by the end of this week, all your grades should be in. Your report grade, your oral presentation grade, and of course the progress report grade. Once again, if there's anyone who emailed work to me, please make sure that I marked it. Because when you email the work, it means it's late, right? That's the first thing. It means it's late. And if I agree to mark it, it means even though it's late, I said I would mark it. But sometimes after I say yes, I get 10 other email messages. And then I answer those, and then I answer, and then I'm genuinely, did I do everything? So every now and again, a student will say, I emailed you and you did not mark it. And that's the only reason it's not marked. Because had it been put up in the right place, I could miss it. But an email, I can miss, because when you email it to me, I'm not marking at that moment. So if I'm not marking at that moment, then I could forget, right? Or I could overlook it. So I'm going to ask you to spend the time, look through, make sure all your grades are there. Because whenever I don't see a grade, I just put 0 because I'm assuming the work wasn't submitted. Okay? Look through. And when you email me, please give me all the information I need. Hi, Tanya. I emailed mini assignment number 5 to you on the 15th of January, and I don't see a grade. The link that it would have been put on is, and tell me the name of the link, tell me the date that you emailed it to me so I can look back. Because I'm not taking it from you today. When you email it today and say, but see it here, I don't want what you have today. I want to see where you emailed it, and that's the one I'm marking. And if it's not there, I am not marking today's work. I'm not. So tell me when you emailed it so that I can go back to that email. Okay? So make sure that all your grades are in, and I think we should be good. If you check for all your grades, you send me an email, and I usually respond to email messages. If I don't respond within 24 hours, send it to me again, because maybe after your email, a lot of others came in, okay? But give me 24 hours, guys. Many of you know that sometimes I respond within minutes, sometimes within an hour. I rarely take many hours. I rarely take as much as 6 hours. But for this week, I'm just going to be marking. I may take a little bit longer, so please be patient, okay? But you will know your grade by the end of this week because the total is there, okay? And now is not the time to be negotiating. Oh, I need 70%. That's not on me, guys. You knew what you needed. Please, I don't want that pressure, okay? Please don't do that to me. And now I finished marking and one person got 90%. So, oh my God, I'm so relieved. And I think if one person can get 9 out of 10, then it means that it's possible. It just means obviously the person who got 9 out of 10 put the work in, and maybe the person already had good writing skills anyway, but it's good to know that it is possible. Yeah. So guys, the report and the oral presentation, they're up to you. You'll have to determine the grade you want. Anyway, thank you for sticking around for Communications 11:15. It was good meeting you guys, and I'll see you around. Talk to you soon. Good luck with your future studies at the college or wherever you may go. And keep working hard. Many of you have many, career and academic goals. Keep yourself focused, guys, and keep moving on. Keep pressing ahead. Keep doing your best. Bye for now.